So my name is Karim Douieb, and I'm a visual person. So I basically fit in those set of people. I basically fit inside those sets of people that understand data much more efficiently by looking at it in a visual way. I'm also more naturally inclined to express my ideas and convey my insight through graphical means. And to understand or explain a bit better what a visual person thinks and how he thinks and how he works, I like to refer to those two famous quotes, one from Einstein, which says that if you can explain something simply, you don't understand it well enough. And compare this to another quote of Edward Tufte, which says that good design is a lot like clear thinking made visual. So as a visual person, if I cannot find an interesting visualization about something, it feels like I don't quite understand the full intricacy of it. And my goal today is going to be about trying to convince you that through a few examples that even if you're not a visual person, you'll find a great interest into trying to visualize all the things you come across. So let's now jump into the first example that I want to show you. This is some work that we've done with Lineas, formerly known as P-Logistics. So they've come to us asking whether we could help them to improve or optimize the maintenance plans of their locomotives using analysis of the past usage and the past revisions of their locomotives. So what you see here is the usage of one single locomotive for one entire year from January to December. And each of the segments you see is a day. And the color represents the states where the locomotive was. So you see gray corresponds to parking, blue to idle, and red to tractions. So just by looking at this, you already get a real sense of how a locomotive is being used, because we had no idea, we had no knowledge about the freight industry at all. So you can see whether the locomotive has been used during the night, during the weekends. You can see even the team shift, where the team changes at certain moments. And so this provided a lot of insight, and also it's enabled us to sort of relate usage with other external metrics. For example, we added a layer of information. This is about region affectation, so each dot represents a day, and the color is associated to a region. So you see that it's been affected. This locomotive has been affected to a single region up to August, and then it switched regions, and then you can see a drastic change in the usage of the locomotive. We iterated in this idea of providing more and more layers of information that were relevant for Lineas. For example, we added all the revisions and all the failures that occurred in the past. And this visualization really helped us to sort of have a graphical profile of each locomotive, and really enabled us to compare one another quite easily. And it really acted as a sort of identity card for the locomotives. Okay, jumping on another subject, the data you're trying to visualize should not necessarily be really complex. For example, here is my resume. It is quite a dense piece of information still, but putting myself in the shoes of a possible recruiter or employer, I feel that I wouldn't really quickly grasp what I was doing and what I would want to do. So by transforming my resume into something a bit more visual, it made it so much more engaging for the recruiter to understand where I was coming from and what I wanted to do. And so this is actually a good example, I think, to take any opportunity you have to try to visualize things. Another example is the one that we use for to help the duty-free shops in Zaventem and Charleroi Airport. they've asked us whether we could try to characterize the consumption behavior of a certain segment of passengers. And so to understand a bit more about their huge portfolio of products, we try to break down their turnover into main categories. So what you're seeing here is a fraction of turnover by main categories. So the first one is perfume, I think, then it's chocolates, then cosmetic, and so on. And then we further break down those subcategories into sub-subcategories and brand and product. And this directly gives us the sort of interesting categories that were producing most of the revenue for those duty-free shops. And so, to answer the question of what is the preference of a certain segment, we color-coded those categories so that we could highlight the product that were much more inclined to be bought by the targeted segment. I'm going to skip this one, and just to conclude, a few takeaways here. Data visualization for me is really about making data understandable. I don't think there's any other way, well, I don't think there's any better way to actually convey some insights. It's clear, efficient, and concise, and that's why I think data visualization is key in the field of data science. If you want to be a good data scientist, you need to master these skills. And not only it's going to help you to convey your data, your insight much better, it's also going to give you the clue to understand it better. I would recommend it to use it as early as possible in your project. So don't leave it just at the end of it once you've done all your aggregation, just for reporting or dashboard. You really have to use it as a tool to understand the data better and make sense out of it. And to finish, be creative about it. Don't limit yourself to the available charts that you can find. Really, I mean, be creative about it. Don't get wide though. The primary goal is still to make the data understandable. But think outside the box, and yeah, that's it.